22 minutes past 7. A wedding is always a momentous occasion for the happy couple and their families, but the marriage next April of Prince William to Kate Middleton will affect all of us.
It will. It's on April the 29th. If you hadn't heard already, there's going to be a public holiday to celebrate the event. It's widely thought that'll be good news for tourism and boost the economy. Some people not quite so happy. Phil Lavelle joins us from Westminster Abbey this morning. Morning, Phil.
Yeah, morning, you two. Not too shabby, is it, for a wedding venue? 2,000 people, the official capacity, though 8,000 have been known to cram into that space in the past. So that's definitely going to be the venue, and the date, the 29th of April, now confirmed. The question is just how much interest will there really be, because inevitably this wedding will be compared to that of Prince Charles and the late Diana, Princess of Wales. So let's just take a look at some of the figures relating to that wedding back in 1981, because on that day, on that July day, 600,000 extra people were here on the streets of London, lining the streets, eager to catch a glimpse of the royal bride-to-be as she made her way from Buckingham Palace, about 10 minutes that way, to St Paul's Cathedral, a few miles down the road. Those who didn't come down to London, those who decided to stay at home and watch it, watched on television, and around 28 million people decided to do that through street parties, watched at home. And outside the UK as well, huge viewing figures, some 750 million, the estimated number of people thought to have watched that service back in 1981. And don't forget, this was before the days of the internet, before the days of multi-channel television. This time around, the expected viewer figures could be a lot higher. And of course, we're going to get that extra bank holiday as well. We're going to get that extra day, which is good news for some, but not for everybody. In fact, I spoke to two people yesterday from the business world who had their own ideas about how this will all work.
I think the wedding is fantastic news. It gives us in tourism something to talk about, and it's a focus that actually gives us free publicity around the world. There is great interest in the royal family, and there's also great interest in the history and pageantry of what exists here. People come to the UK to travel around and see the beautiful countryside and the historic buildings, but they also come because we live that pageant, and this is going to bring a great interest to our country.
The royal wedding is good news for the country, but can be bad news for small employers in particular, because all absence from work as a result of an extra bank holiday has to be paid for, and generally is paid for by the employer. But every bank holiday costs the UK economy £6 billion, and that's got to be found somehow. And also for small businesses having support staff or on-call staff, those staff will ask for extra money on that bank holiday. Again, another cost on small businesses.
The case for and against the bank holiday there. Of course, things that lots of people want to know are the more trivial matters. Where will the dress be from? Who's going to be on the guest list, etc., etc. We've got Mark Niemierko, who's a wedding planner, who's come down there to speak to us. And things like the guest list, I mean, this is going to be a real problem, isn't it? Because she's not going to have much control over things like that.
For sure. I think it's certainly a guest list I wouldn't necessarily want to be planning. I do think, however, she's rumoured to be having lots of control and lots of input, as is William, into the big day. So maybe we'll slightly modernise the royal family this time and see a bit of a modern people's wedding. Yeah,
that whole question of input's quite interesting, isn't it? Because brides-to-be are often known as bridezillas. They're very meticulous about what they want. But a lot of the stuff she won't be allowed to control. She will have to do things a certain way.
Yeah, I think the ceremony part, obviously here at Westminster Abbey, will be totally controlled by the palace, by the government. Almost, even though it's not a state wedding, will be formalised like a state wedding. It's a national event, an international event even. But then maybe the reception would be more personalised to her, and an after party even. You know, we all know that Prince William's a keen nightclubber, so maybe they'll do a cool nightclub afterwards or something.
No YMCA on the dance floor that wedding. Thank you very much, Mark. I must just give you a very interesting fact, Bill, before I pass back, because I know you like your factoids. Did you know Westminster Abbey is known as a royal peculiar, and while it is a holy place, it's not actually controlled by a particular diocese. It actually comes under the ownership of the sovereign, i.e. the Queen, which means that they are at least saving a little bit of money on the venue.
Yes, and thanks very much, Phil. It's estimated, though, it could cost businesses £5 billion.
Indeed. Well, it'll be interesting to see whether the impact of tourism and the boost of the economy there balances it out. Thank you for your texts and emails on that this morning. In just a few moments, we're going to be discussing